Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lucky Kurniawati. I'm from Group 2, and this video is a presentation about evaluating student and teacher books. Alright, now let's start with an overview of introduction. The first, we have an overview of student book introduction. Number 1, there is the purpose of writing the book. What is the purpose? The purpose is to improve student language skills. Number 2 is book systematics. There is a title, the publisher, the year of publication, the number of pages, also the contributors, the writer of the books right after the covers. You can see that on the student book. Number 3 is approach and method of learning. The approach in the book is a text-based approach, spoken and written as a means of communication. And then the method here is used 2013 curriculum, which states that students are free to find out or explore various learning resources to help them understand the learning material. Number 4 is process skills. There are 2 stages in the process of achieving skills in this book. The first is increasing the competence of knowledge. It is about the rules and then the types, also the context of the text. And then the second is followed by increasing the competence of their skills, presenting a written text or a spoken text, both planned or spontaneously, in the proper pronunciation and also the proper intonation. Number 5 is habituation of attitude. In the book, it's written that continuous learning model is intended to form language politeness or attitude. And then number 6 and 7, there is assessment and time allocation. In the student books, there is no assessment in learning and also time allocation. Then now we move to the overview of teacher book introduction. Number 1, we have the purpose of writing the book. The purpose of writing the book is to improve student English language skills. And then number 2 is about the book systematics. It's the same as the student books, but the differences here is the teacher book is a second edition which published in the year of 2018, but the student book is published in 2015. And then number 3, it's approach and method in learning. The approach is a text-based approach, both spoken and written, as a means of communicating, thinking, and processing feelings. And then the method used in the teacher book is same as the student books. And then number 4 is process skills. The process skills is also same as the student book, so I will not repeat it. Number 5 is habituation of attitude. There was 2 in the teacher book. The first one is in the kata pengantar, like the student book. And then the second is on the characteristic of English learning. It states some specific attitude that students must achieve during the process of learning. And then number 6, it is assessment in learning. There is a strategy and also the rubrics for assessment of knowledge and also the skills. Number 7 is time allocation. There is an allocation of time in learning process in 1 year, also in the 2 semesters, and every meeting, also every week in this book. Alright, now we moved to the differences between student book and also the teacher book in the introduction. The first is the purpose of writing the book. In the student book, if you remember, the purpose is to increasing the student language skills, but in the teacher book, the purpose is to increasing students' English language skills. So the differences here is the usage of word English. And then number 2 is a learning approach. In the student book, the mean of the approach is to communication. But in the teacher book, the mean of the approach is for communicating, for thinking, and for processing feeling. And then number 3, it is habituation of attitude. In the student book, it didn't state about any specific attitude that students should have. But in the teacher book, it is state some attitude that students must achieve during the process of learning. And then the last is number 4. Number 4 is assessment and time allocation. In the student books, there is no such assessment and time allocation, but there is a time allocation and also assessment in the teacher book.
So we are moving to the next table that we are going to use to evaluate. It is from the student's book. And here I'm going to specifically talk about the main chapter, which is titled Come and Visit Us. It will be about short functional text, which is advertisement. And this chapter is based from the Basic Competence 3.10 and 4.10, comparing and also finding the contextual meaning of social functions, language features, and also language structures of advertisement by asking and giving information related to the products and the services. So, if we open this chapter, there will be only one exercise for the students, and it comes in a table with the blanks that students are asked to fill it based on their analysis from the example of the advertisements that are provided also in the book. So we can say that this exercise already covers all the target from the basic competence as a whole. I personally think that this doesn't go more detailed for every target mentioned in the basic competence. So that's why in the problem table I mentioned that the instruction is less detailed. The improvement that I would like to suggest is the teacher needs to maximize the student works or maybe add another works to be more detailed in order to make them know what they're really doing and to trigger the students to analyze what they are doing. So the target that is mentioned in each basic competence and indicator can be covered successfully. So if the targets are covered, then I guess it doesn't matter if the book only has one single exercise.
Okay, now I will analyze the teacher's book and its accordance with the basic competencies, the learning objective, the learning steps, and the assessment. Number 1. The competency achievement indicator in this book are in accordance with basic competencies. Number 2. In this teacher book, the learning objective are in accordance with the basic competencies. Number 3, the learning steps in this book are also in accordance with the scientific approach. So the steps are observing and questioning, associating, experimenting, and communicating. And for students' activity are, first, students are listening and imitating how to present the advertisement. And number 2, they are studying how to identify various information in the advertisement. And the third step is students are identifying some information contained in the classified advertisement. And the next is identifying information from real-life advertisement. The last is reflection. So, it is in accordance with the scientific approach. Number 4. The appropriateness of the assessment instrument with aspects of attitude, knowledge, and skill. So, actually, the assessment instruments are in accordance with those aspects, but what kind of attitude should be developed is not included in this book. For example, students' honest attitude, responsibility, cooperative, and discipline. The next, for the knowledge and skill aspect, are already fulfilled because there are some exercises that can be used as an assessment. Okay, now I will analyze the accordance between teachers and students' book. Number 1. The competencies achievement indicators in those book are in accordance with the basic competencies. Number 2. The learning objectives are also in accordance with the basic competence. Number 3, the learning steps between those two books are also in accordance with the scientific approach. And the steps are there are observing and questioning, associating, experimenting, and communicating. And number 4, in the teacher book, it is not contained of the aspect of attitude. In the student's book, there are some exercises that ask students to work in group. So that exercise contain the aspect of attitude. For example, cooperation, responsibility, discipline, and student honest attitude.
Alright, this is the end of our presentation. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.